Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Victoria police on the scene of a two-vehicle crash this morning.
The Victoria ISD Board will appoint one of 3 applicants to fill the District 2 trustee seat.
And the DOJ has sued Texas and Governor Greg Abbott over the floating barriers installed in the Rio Grande.
We had another good afternoon of isolated little rain showers just right outside the city right about now. A little bit heavier stuff if you go up to Wharton and Rosenberg. How long will this good luck last? Well, we'll be talking about it because coming up in a couple of days, Saharan dust will be visiting us, and I'll have all that coming up.
3 passengers survived after a plane crashed into the roof of a home in Georgetown. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
The Victoria ISD Board of Trustees accepted Dr. Estela de los Santos' resignation on July 5th. Today, the board will appoint a new person to fill the District 2 seat.
That's right. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick is live at Victoria ISD's administration building with more.
The community votes for the Board of Trustees in the district. However, in this case, the District 2 trustee will be appointed. Spoke with 2 applicants, Andrew Rakovich and Emmett Alvarez, just yesterday. Alvarez says he wants students to be successful, not just graduates. His main goal is to get students from K through 12 into the workforce or higher education. Rakovich says the board needs someone with his views. He says the board is a one-sided group that does not truly represent Victoria. We got a statement from the last applicant, Bridget Marshall. She plans to put her experience as an educator to use, while the other 2 plan to use their economic experience. We asked you guys just yesterday, who would you want to see appointed by the board, and the viewers voted for Andrew Rakovich. I'll have an update with the rest of the appointment later on today. Reporting live in Victoria, I'm Adarius McCormick, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Adarius, thank you. This brings us to your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, what issues do you want to see in the VISD board focus on now? Is it security, curriculum, infrastructure, mental health, or staffing issues? We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6.
Injuries were reported and a person is in custody following an active shooter call at the North Texas Medical Center this afternoon. Cedar Hill police were called to this medical building around 12:15 to investigate an active shooter in the building. Police have not confirmed how many people are hurt. A suspect was detained and the scene is secure. There's no other information confirmed about the gunman or a possible motive in the shooting. Police are expected to give an update soon.
Dallas police are investigating a police officer-involved shooting this afternoon. The police chief said officers were closely watching a stolen U-Haul truck when they saw a man get into the cab. The man saw the officers looking at him and slammed the truck into the surveillance vehicle before trying to escape. According to the police chief, the man fired at the pursuing officer and the officer returned fire before the man was finally taken into custody. It's still unknown what condition the man shooting was in after the shooting.
Victoria police say just after 10 a.m. today, a white Mitsubishi Mirage headed north on Moody Street was hit by a black sedan at Moody and Constitution. That's near downtown. The Mirage hit a pole. No one was hurt and no one was ticketed.
The removal of a large live oak tree that collapsed and fell on top of 3 City of Goliad vehicles on June 29th cost the city $19,000. The Goliad Advanced Guard reports 3 city vehicles were damaged by this fallen tree. Insurance claims have been filed on the 3 city vehicles and a portion of that building that was damaged. Goliad Mayor Brenda Moses said insurance should pay for part of the tree removals.
All right, this hot weather speaking for itself, but Mac always has something to add. Mac, I heard of some rain showers in the area today.
Yeah, we did have a few little rain showers around the area again today. It's always good to see some of that. I know the trees falling down and branches blowing around. It's a problem, but it could be worse. It could be that blazing heat that we had. We're down at 97 right about now. I say down because that is our high temperature. I should have said we are still at 97. Now, what's happening for today and tomorrow, or tomorrow really, is a few more little showers, but it's going to be cut down by some Saharan dust that's going to be visiting us. Can you believe that? We'll talk more about that coming up in a moment. Back to you.
The trial for a man accused of driving to Dallas to kill his high school girlfriend's husband in a murder-for-hire plot began today. KXAS reports 49-year-old Darren Ruben Lopez gunned down Jennifer Faith's husband outside their home in October 2020. He pleaded not guilty to the murder charges. Jennifer Faith said she was having an affair with her high school boyfriend, who authorities said drove from Tennessee to Dallas to kill her husband. The victim's wife pleaded guilty to helping find her husband's killer as well as planning his death. A federal judge has blocked a rule that allowed immigration authorities to deny asylum to migrants who arrive at the U.S.-Mexico border without first applying online or seeking protection in a country they pass through. But the ruling was delayed to give the Biden administration time to appeal. Title 42 expired in May. The new rule imposes severe limitations on migrants seeking asylum, but includes room for exceptions and does not apply to children traveling alone.
The border battle between the Biden administration and Governor Greg Abbott has escalated to the courtroom. The U.S. Department of Justice is now suing Texas for putting barriers in the Rio Grande in an attempt to stop migrants from crossing into the U.S.
The DOJ says the state installed the buoys without federal authorization, and the placement of the barriers violates the Constitution.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott defiant as the Justice Department follows through on its threat to take legal action to force the state to remove these red buoys from the Rio Grande River. The DOJ filing a civil complaint in federal court against Texas, claiming it illegally installed the 1,000-foot-long floating barrier without obtaining the required federal authorization. But the governor, in his response, unyielding, writing in a letter to President Biden, quote, "Texas will see you in court, Mr. President." Abbott insisting on Fox News that the barriers serve a critical purpose.
Working together, these devices have turned away and repelled tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people who try to enter into the United States illegally.
But the Biden administration is accusing the governor of playing political games, saying unlawful border crossings have actually dropped more than 30% since May, after the expiration of Title 42, crediting the president's policies for bringing down those numbers to the lowest they've been in more than 2 years.
And what you see the governor doing is dangerous and unlawful, and it's actually hurting the process.
According to the DOJ, the barriers pose threats to public safety and present humanitarian and environmental concerns. The buoys installed in shallow waters along with razor wire are forcing migrants into deeper parts of the Rio Grande River. Graphic images obtained by ABC News show some migrants with injuries from that razor wire. Texas residents along the border split over how Texas is handling the border issue.
We appreciate Governor Abbott trying to step up and doing something, but not in this way.
The Department of Justice says the buoys have prompted diplomatic protests by Mexico's government and threatened to damage U.S. foreign policy. But Abbott says he's willing to take this case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court if he has to. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador thanked President Biden for the lawsuit filed against Texas Monday to remove those floating barriers. He said the buoys and barbed wire fences in the river violate our sovereignty and international treaties and agreements.
In Texas, a small plane crashed into the roof of a home in Georgetown, north of Austin on Monday. The 3 people on the plane all walked away from the crash with non-life-threatening injuries. The Georgetown Fire Department says the pilot and passengers were on their way back to Georgetown Executive Airport when the pilot said they experienced engine trouble. They crashed into an unoccupied home, which was about a quarter-mile away from the Georgetown Executive Airport runway. The 3 people are expected to be okay.
Drivers who take DuPont Bridge will need to take an alternate route Wednesday and Thursday. TxDOT will conduct an inspection over the barge canal. The bridge will have restricted access Wednesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more on today's news stories in this newscast, come to crossroadstoday.com. Read about the Victoria Public Library getting a grant for on-site material pickup lockers under news. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click on the notification bell. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, 2 pilots on board a firefighting airplane were killed after they crashed into a canyon in southern Greece.
Also ahead, doctors in Israel have gone on strike in protest of the country's judicial reform.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. On Sunday, July 16th, around 11:20 p.m., a shooting occurred at a residence at the 4100 block of Callis Street. A 34-year-old male resident was shot by an unknown male after a fight between the two men took place at the location. The suspect is described as a black male with a scruffy beard, dreadlocks, with the last seen running to a white car. The victim was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. If you have any information, call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Plane has crashed in southern Greece, killing both crew members as authorities battle fires across the country amid intense heat wave temperatures. The crash occurred on the island of Eva. The low-flying aircraft was shown disappearing into a cannon before a fireball was seen moments later. The plane had no ejection system. Meanwhile, a third successive heat wave in Greece pushed temperatures to 104 degrees Fahrenheit across parts of the country on Tuesday. Thousands of Israeli doctors have walked out of work while labor leaders are threatening a general strike over Israel's judicial reforms. Tuesday's developments followed a day after the government approved a law weakening the country's Supreme Court. Critics say this will erode the system of checks and balances. The manager of the operating room at a hospital there apologized for the damage caused, but says doctors believe they didn't have a choice.
Very sorry for this damage. We try to minimize it as much as possible. Oncology patients, urgent surgeries, everything that involves children and certain procedures, we do according to their order. All other treatments are unfortunately cancelled because we don't think we have a choice.
The law is the first of a series of measures that make up the Prime Minister's divisive judicial overhaul plan. It came despite 7 months of fierce popular resistance and anti-government protests. State laws restricting care for transgender youth has made it more difficult for them to get care. A new study shows half of all adolescents in the U.S. now live more than an hour from the nearest clinic providing gender-affirming care. The average was about 30 minutes prior to at least 20 states enacting policies restricting that type of health care. The largest increase in travel times were found in 3 states, including Texas. Gender-affirming care is considered crucial by the Department of Health and Human Services. Fatal gun incidents surpassed car crashes in 2020 as the leading cause of death among children.
But a new study suggests a 1-minute video on gun safety could save lives.
It can happen in a matter of moments. Little hands on a loaded gun can have deadly consequences.
These are news stories we see all too often.
Between 2015 and 2022, an analysis by Everytown for Gun Safety found at least 2,800 people were injured or killed in unintentional shootings by children in the U.S. But a new study published in JAMA Pediatrics found a 1-minute gun safety video lowered kids' unsafe behavior around guns. Researchers studied pairs of children between the ages of 8 and 12. One set viewed a 1-minute gun safety video at their house, while another group watched a car safety video at home. Researchers say members of the gun safety video group were more cautious than those who watched the video on car safety when the kids found a real gun in a laboratory drawer a week later. Health experts say learning about gun safety is important, and so is making sure firearms are always locked away and stored separately from ammunition.
You don't want your 3-year-old or your curious 8-year-old or potentially a suicidal teenager, right, to have unauthorized access to loaded, unlocked guns in the home.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A report from the World Weather Attribution says the recent extreme heat events in North America, Europe, and China were caused by human-induced climate change. It's reported July 2023 saw record-breaking temperatures around the world, including the highest temperature recorded in history in both China and Catalonia. Heat deaths in Mexico exceeded 200, while more than 100 million people in the southern U.S. live under heat alerts. The report clarified the full mortality impact of a heat wave remains unknown until weeks or months after the event. The Texas Tribune reports a new state law eliminating the elections department in Harris County is likely to cause large disruptions and issues for voters in elections this fall and potentially in 2024.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. As you can see right about here, we continue with the observed highs for today. 99 in Port Lavaca. They didn't get the cloud cover that we got here in Victoria. We got 97 and 101 in Gonzales. But okay, I've been jealous for Kennedy for the last couple of days. I'm going, how do they get an 80 as a high temperature? Well, I just checked. It's broken. So if Kennedy doesn't fix the thermometer soon, I may have to take it off the map. Well, we'll be talking about how many more showers we'll get and what about that Saharan dust, all that coming up in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Well, the additional showers that we had today were very nice as they rolled over the Victoria area, but you can see at this hour, heavier stuff is up by Highway 59. That's in Wharton and in Rosenberg, and it looks like it's moving in this way. So those of you up toward Hallettsville, maybe even Lavaca County, watch out for that coming in from the east, as you see right about there. The stuff over the city seems to be already decreasing for the night. Now, as you can see around the Gulf, it's really just us along the coast that's getting that nice little shower activity. The big dome of doom is still around, but we do have a little moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico. We're looking at it very longingly. Well, I say that now, but we'll watch and wait. 101 in Gonzales, 97 for us, 99 in Port Lavaca. Now, here's the big story. Saharan dust all the way from the African continent. Out here in the Western Africa, they get these big thunderstorms, right? Big thunderstorms. And when they collapse, they cause these windstorms. The windstorms kick up the dust. The dust then gets carried by the upper winds across the Atlantic. This happens almost every year, not every year, but this year it's getting real close to us. As you can see right about here, we've got that plume just entering into the Gulf of Mexico. By tomorrow, you might start to see it, but it's going to be building over our area. Now, the Saharan dust generally is, you know, it could be worse, but it will affect people that have respiratory problems. So they're actually encouraging people to wear masks if the dust is getting to you. It helps to suppress the rain chance so that by the time we get to maybe Friday, it's going to shut down our little showers, but it'll be with us for a couple of days and then it's eventually will dissipate. These are the names that we're using this year. Of course, we've done Arlene, Brett, Cindy, and Don. The next two storms are Emily and Franklin. And are they actually developing? Well, we have three areas to watch. One is right here off the coast of Florida that has a potential to spin up. I mean, it's a low-grade potential, but it's there. The other one is right over the Caribbean right now, producing rain and you know, significant rains around the area, and that's good because they've been in a drought. And then the third one is just coming off the African coast right about here. Now remember, these are very low. They're down south. They're in the intertropical convergence zone, and so they're going to ride low. But they're still possibly developing. So whether they come to us or not, hopefully they don't, they have the potential to be organizing. Well, here's your day planner for those of you in Port Lavaca tomorrow, getting up at 81, topping out at 94. Still on the partly cloudy side, still with an isolated chance of a shower or two. For those of you in Cuero, 77 in the morning, topping out at 98 in the afternoon, still a chance for a shower or two, and that would be on your Wednesday. Now, as we get to Thursday, the dust and several other factors will figure into sort of reducing the amount of shower activity that we get. So we're still, you know, upper 90s, heat index right over that 105 mark, but we'll see fewer and fewer showers as we get to Saturday and Sunday as the dust sort of collects over the area. A little bit of a break, but there's more tropical stuff on the other side for next week, so we'll be certainly watching that for you here. That is your 7-day forecast. We are looking at the QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone, and take it wherever you need to go. We'll toss it back to Karina and James.
All right, Mac, thank you so much. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at your stocks. Plus, UPS and Teamsters have reached a tentative labor deal, potentially avoiding a strike.
Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 26 points, the S&P 500 gaining 12 points, and the Nasdaq adding 86 points. Oil up 89 cents, closing at $79.63 a barrel. UPS and the Teamsters Union have reached a tentative deal on a new contract. It could prevent a strike, which was set to begin as soon as next week, likely crippling U.S. supply chains. However, the tentative agreement still needs to be ratified by about 340,000 Teamsters at UPS. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien said in a statement, quote, UPS has put $30 billion in new money on the table as a direct result of these negotiations, unquote. This contract now sets a new standard in the labor movement.
Shocked, but excited, just for the simple fact that, talking about strike, tensions are high, emotions are high. This is good. This is a start. I mean, the language is there, but if everything they said is true, we're happy about it.
Details of the agreement are not yet public.
Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, the Biden's dog Commander, who was involved in biting incidents, is now receiving some obedience training.
Dog Commander is getting some obedience training. A Secret Service email said Commander was involved in several biting incidents at the White House and in Delaware. The emails were obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests by the conservative group Judicial Watch. In the messages, Commander was involved in 10 incidents, including one that hospitalized an officer.
No.
Another of Biden's German Shepherds, Major, moved out of the White House after he was involved in biting incidents.
That little guy right there,
I don't know if it's that one, is it?
It can't be.
Nice.
He looks, way too nice.
But those dogs are very trainable, so hopefully they'll get to the bottom of this.
They're also very protective of their principal. You know? Once they're yours, they're going to protect you from everything.
It's those small dogs you guys have to be on the lookout for. Those Chihuahuas, those Chihuahuas bite. Let me tell you that.
Chihuahuas bite? I didn't, but they have little bitty mouths.
Oh, no. I have a Chihuahua at home. My mom's Chihuahua, his name is Bambi. Worst dog you'll ever meet. Bites people all the time.
I'm so sad. My dog is the most perfect dog in the world.
Also a Chihuahua?
He's a long-haired Chihuahua with big ears like that.
Ringo is his name?
Ringo.
Ringo, okay.
I've never met a nice Chihuahua.
Oh, I'm going to bring Ringo.
Oh, bring Ringo.
He'll be the Ringo the weather dog. I'll bring him by. Folks, the heat continues, but the good news is we still have a shot at a couple of showers for the next couple of days. As I mentioned, Saharan dust is coming into Texas, into our area. You start seeing redder sunshines and a little bit of dust in the air. If it affects you, then you know what it is, because people with allergies and people with respiratory issues may be affected by that. Otherwise, it looks a little drier as we get to the weekend, and we've got 3 systems in the Atlantic that could develop into the next storm, so we're watching them very carefully.
All right, Mac, thanks for keeping us updated, and thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.